Good evening. We're back in New York tonight, back on the story that shook the world this weekend. The sudden U.S. raid on Nicolás Maduro. Delta Force commandos snatched the Venezuelan dictator and his wife from a fortified compound in Caracas on Saturday. And now they are both here in New York City tonight in a notorious federal detention facility. Charlie D'Agata is standing by in West Palm Beach with more on the raid and what critics of the president are saying about it. But we're going to begin by welcoming Matt Gutman to CBS News. He is live outside the Brooklyn jail holding Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. And this is a moment for you, Matt. Good evening. Almost a decade ago, I want to let our viewers know you and the producer you are standing with now in Brooklyn were held together by the Maduro regime in prison in Venezuela. Quite a full circle moment. Excited to have you here. Good evening.
Thanks, Tony. It is good to be with you. And yes, quite a full circle. Unexpected, to say the least. Now, you mentioned Maduro's arraignment. It is set for noon tomorrow, and he faces a slew of federal charges, including for narco-terrorism, which, if convicted, could net him decades in prison.
Less than 18 hours after that fiery early morning capture in Caracas, Nicolás Maduro and his wife spent their first night in U.S. lockup at the Metropolitan Detention Center in New York City. Maduro and his wife Celia Flores being held on multiple federal charges, the pair touching down Saturday afternoon on a government jet just north of New York City. Dozens of federal officials there on the ground, many of them taking advantage of the photo op. The couple were then choppered to the DEA headquarters in New York City, where they were booked and fingerprinted. And again, Maduro was paraded by agents, this time offering them a cordial greeting.
Good night. Happy New Year.
And finally, this motorcade ferrying them to their last stop back here at the Metropolitan Detention Center.
The MDC is a far cry from Maduro's palace in Caracas. Now, law enforcement sources tell us that he is being held in one of the top floors of this jail. They say that he is not being held in isolation, but is being held with other higher profile inmates.
The federal jail facility is notorious for poor conditions and the infamous inmates it has housed, including accused murderer Luigi Mangione, Sean Diddy Combs, and Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell.
Judges in New York have been very critical of this MDC prison.
David Marcus was Maxwell's attorney, and he describes conditions inside as barbaric.
What's it like inside?
If we saw an American being held in a prison like this in Venezuela, we would yell and scream and say it's a human rights violation. They keep it frigid in there. The food is not fit for human consumption.
Caroline Polisi is a criminal defense attorney and says tomorrow's arraignment starts the clock for prosecutors to turn over evidence.
Do you think that Maduro can get a fair trial in the United States?
Absolutely. The prosecution wants to make sure every element of this trial is not prejudicial. They, just as much as the defense, want this case to be fair and impartial.
Now, while there is some question about the strength of the government's evidence against Maduro, what seems not to be in question among the legal analysts that we talk to is whether he can get a fair trial in the U.S. Tony.
Matt, thank you very much. Great to have you here.